This content is recreated to fit YouTube's policies, fair use, and licensed content.
And I want to thank my haters too because they be downloading my stuff so they can hear it and talk crap about it, but it benefits me.
Welcome back to another episode of Whip Media TV. I'm your host, Whip Media Mickey, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to the channel, you know what to do to the channel. Subscribe right now. Join the Vibe Tribe. And if you're feeling generous and want to leave me a tip for my extra hard work in my editing, I'll leave the Cash App link down below. Okay, on today's episode, I cover Fallen. Philadelphia police detective John Hobbs visits serial killer Edgar Reese, whom he helped capture on death row. Reese is in high spirits and during conversation grabs Hobbs' hand and delivers a spiteful monologue in an unknown language, assumed to be gibberish but later identified Aramaic. As he's executed, Reese mocks the spectators and sings, "Time is on my side." Hobbs and his partner Jonesy investigate a string of new murders reminiscent of Reese's style, which they assume by a copycat killer. Following hints given by Reese and the copycat killer, Hobbs tracks down a woman named Greta Milano. Greta explains that her father and former detective killed himself in an isolated cabin after being accused of a series of occult murders similar to the ones Hobbs and Jonesy are investigating. Hobbs visits Milano's family's abandoned lake house. In the basement, he finds several unsettling books about demonic possession. He also discovers the name Azazel written on the wall, obscured under layers of paint and grime. Hobbs asks Greta about the name, but she strongly urges him to drop the case to protect the lives of himself and his loved ones. She reconsiders after a terrifying encounter with Azazel, who confronts her in the guise of several strangers on the street and attempts to possess her. Seeking sanctuary in a church, Greta explains to Hobbs that Azazel is a fallen angel who can possess human beings by touch. Hobbs realizes that Azazel, while possessing Edgar Reese, shook his hand before the execution but was not able to possess him. Greta then explains that the demon will try to ruin his life and warns him of Azazel's inevitable victory. Azazel visits Hobbs at his precinct, possesses his friend Lou, and taunts him. Azazel moves from person to person, singing "Time is on my side." After each transfer, Hobbs asks Lou and several others why they were singing the song, but they have no recollection. Hobbs runs outside and calls out Azazel in Aramaic. The demon, now moving among people in the street, praises Hobbs for his cleverness. Hobbs says that he knows of Azazel's true identity. The demon threatens him and disappears. To provoke Hobbs, Azazel possesses his nephew Sam and attacks John's intellectually disabled brother Art in their home. He again flees into other people on the street, ending up in a school teacher. As the teacher, Azazel draws a gun and forces Hobbs to shoot his host in front of a group of bystanders. Azazel boasts that if his current host is killed, he can transfer to another host in the surroundings area without needing to touch them. Lieutenant Staten informs Hobbs that his fingerprints were found at one of the murder scenes, and in light of the bizarre circumstances of the shooting of the teacher, he has become a suspect for all the murders. Azazel inhabits several of the witnesses and gives false accounts that the shooting was unprovoked. Throwing further suspicion on Hobbs, Azazel comes into Hobbs' home and murders his brother, while marking Sam. Hobbs takes his nephew to Greta's house. Greta explains that if forced out of a host body, Azazel can only travel for as long as one breath can sustain him, after which he will die. Hobbs then goes to Milano's cabin and calls Jonesy, knowing he will trace the call. Staten and Jonesy arrive to arrest Hobbs. However, Jonesy kills Staten, revealing himself to be possessed. Azazel prepares to shoot himself, which will allow him to possess Hobbs, the only other person for miles around. Hobbs wrestles Jonesy for his gun, and Jonesy is fatally wounded. Hobbs smokes cigarettes, which he explains have been laced with the same poison Azazel used to kill his brother, which will leave Azazel stranded in the wilderness without a host. Hobbs taunts him and kills Jonesy. Azazel possesses Hobbs, frantically attempts to flee, and succumbs to the poison. Azazel, in the voiceover, mocks the audience for believing that he has lost, and a possessed cat emerges from beneath the cabin and heads back to civilization, Fallen. See, the movie Fallen is a supernatural thriller that explores the themes of good and evil, redemption, and the nature of humanity. Number 1. Evil can be seductive. In the movie, the character Azazel is portrayed as a charming and charismatic being who is able to manipulate those around him to do his bidding. This serves as a reminder that evil can be alluring and can easily lead people down a destructive path if they're not careful. Number 2. Redemption is possible. Despite committing heinous crimes, Detective John Hobbs is able to redeem himself by sacrificing himself to stop Azazel. This reminds us that no matter how far we have fallen, it's never too late to turn things around and make amends. Number 3, we are all capable of good and evil. The movie suggests that everyone has the potential for both good and evil within them. It's up to each individual to choose which path to take and to be mindful of the consequences of their actions. And number 4, don't underestimate the power of love. Throughout the movie, Hobbs is motivated by his love for his family and his desire to protect them from harm. This serves as a reminder that love can be a powerful force that can help us overcome even the most challenging obstacles. And number 5, be careful who you trust in the movie. Azazel is able to manipulate people by possessing their bodies and taking on their identities. This is a reminder that we should be careful who we trust and not assume that someone is who they appear to be at face value. Until next time, Mickey made it.